Hey, everybody, it's Anthony Brogdon. I'm coming at you again. I'm coming out with so much content now. When I go places, I videotape. And just earlier today, I was at an unveiling of a statue and I'm out of Detroit for a lady. It was a lady's head. They couldn't find the guy who she was married to, but they were the first blacks in this town called Royal Oak. And they know the house that they lived in. It's not standing, but there is some, parts of buildings that they were a part of. Let's call it that. And I say that because that's kind of a lead in to the guy who's going to be on the show right now. It's just to talk about a festival that he's doing, not a festival, a conference that's internationally known. I'm excited to have this brother on the show. This is his third. Let me tell you, this is the kind of guy that, and like all of the others, if my man got something to say, I say it on Strong Inspirations. Come on here. And the numbers is growing. So hit the subscribe button on Strong Inspirations, hit the like button on this little clip, so to speak. Hit the notifications bell, because like I said, I'm putting out content often, and tell somebody about us. We're growing. And so go to my website, businessintheblack.net, get a copy of this book. And people are buying it. The book is good. Get a copy of that. It's on the website, businessintheblack.net, and also on Amazon. Rich Black People in the 1800s. So without further ado, without me going into any long, introduction that I normally do, I want to let him introduce himself. I like doing it that way. And here we go. Come on, brother. You got the floor.
Yes, my name is Joseph McGill. I am the executive director of the Slave Dwelling Project. Very simple concept: find slave dwellings wherever they are in the United States. Ask the stewards if I could spend the night in these spaces. The purpose is to bring attention to these spaces because, once upon a time, one could go to a plantation or a historic site, an antebellum site, and marvel at the magnificence of the beautiful big house on the hill, the architecturally significant big house on the hill. That would be the focus of what people would learn about when they got there. Very seldom would they learn about the enslaved people who inhabited those spaces. So the slave dwelling project was built because of the lack of what they were not doing, the lack of them not telling our stories of our enslaved ancestors, and the anger that was built up in me because that wasn't being done. Plus, once I started the research, I learned that my education was lacking also, and telling me about the things or educating me about the things my enslaved ancestors did, endured, and also the agency that they had. So, with that idea, being deprived of that information, and finding out that I did come from a proud past, I created the Slave Dwelling Project. So, for the last 14 years, the last 14 years, since 2010, I've been sleeping in slave dwellings, and now 25 states later and the District of Columbia, we're still at it. This year, next month, October 3rd through the 5th, we will have our eighth conference. This will be the first conference in a northern state. It's going to be in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Um, Prior conferences have been in southern states because when we think about slavery, we think about southern states because we think about the Civil War and the 13th Amendment, ending slavery in those southern states. But prior to that, slavery also existed in northern states and territories. Because slavery existed there and because slavery was a product that the northern states continued to profit from after they abolished slavery legislatively right after the revolution. They were still complicit because the banks were there in those northern states that were putting mortgages on enslaved people. The insurance companies were in those northern states that were putting insurance on those enslaved people. The factories where the cotton was being added value to were in those northern states. The ship that's were being built, the ships that were importing them were in those northern states. So we're going to be concentrating on those things, the slavery that existed physically in those northern states and the slavery that existed after slavery was abolished in those northern states. But we're going to, talk about and stress how those northern states continue to be profitable because slavery still existed and they turned a blind eye to it, so much so that they were profiting from it and promoting it and allowing it to persist. So the conference is, the title is Illusion of Freedom, Slavery in the Northern States, October 3rd through the 5th, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Okay, hold on. Tell us a little more. What hotel? I mean, yeah, I think you kind of told me y'all sold out, but nonetheless, what hotel and what's the website for Slave Dwelling Project?
Yeah. The Marriott Old City, www.slavedwellingproject.org. You can certainly go onto the website, and we encourage you to go onto the website. And we're going to also have sessions at the Museum of the American Revolution. Um, so yeah, so go to the website, www.slavedwellingproject.org. You can't register. We've got a good problem. We've reached our capacity, but we certainly want you to interact, look at the presenters and their subject matter, because you may see something or someone, a subject matter that might jump out at you. You might want this person, you may want to contact this person to come to your site and talk about whatever they're going to be talking about at the conference. So please, check that out. We want you to be aware of what we're doing, because what we are doing, what we're gearing up for is 2026. 2026 is the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution. So we want to encourage these historic sites not to wait for 2026 to do a blockbuster event. And if that's what you're planning to do, that's all well and good. That's fine. But in addition to that, start interacting with your audience now. Start letting your audience know now that that was more than just a white thing going on 250 years ago. Our enslaved ancestors were there. And the Slave Dwelling Project will be embarking on 2025 and 2026, giving those enslaved people of that period a voice, not letting uh, uh, the U.S. get away with what they got away with at the 200th anniversary. At the 200th anniversary, it was still that white narrative, the savior, the patriot myth, um, the stories that we now know about our enslaved ancestors of that period weren't a part of the narrative, but we're going to make them a part of the narrative. And we're preparing, we're laying that groundwork right now.
Yeah, I love it. If I may ask, where's the conference next year? Do you do the conference every year?
No, we will be doing it every other year. In 2026, we will do a conference, and that's to be determined.
Okay, but then let me also say before we come to a close, you as you tour these slave dwellings, you invite other people to go along with you, don't you? In some instances, is that the case?
Yes. So
And
when you go,
tell us a little bit about that. Maybe some people can come the next time you do one.
yeah. So when you go to the website, you will see our schedule of event. You will see that we have some sleepovers in the rest of the year, for the rest of the year already planned on the calendar. We are also putting 2025 stays and sleepovers on the calendar. Some of them already exist, but you can't see that until we release it officially right around the beginning of January. But if you look on there and if you see something that's already on the calendar that you want to be a part of, a sleepover, inquire and we can make those arrangements. Not everything that's on the calendar is a sleepover, but you can inquire and we can go from there.
Oh, okay. I love it. Now I got to ask you about the sleepover. So you might limit that to like 10, 15 people and everybody's kind of sleeping in a bunk or something like that, or
It,
in their
it,
that kind of
tho-
thing. How does that look?
those numbers vary. I mean, if it's in historic space, I want to be in that space, and however many people we could fit in that space. Sometimes it's a cabin, a slave dwelling,
Okay, I
but
got
sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's a big house. Sometimes it's none of those things. Sometimes it's a tent,
you. Yeah, right.
in the spot, where the slave cabins used to be.
I got you.
Um, Sometimes it's in a basement. Sometimes it's in an attic.
Yeah,
It's yeah. The
it's all
places
over.
vary. And we stayed. I've stayed at Monticello, Montpelier, Mont Vernon,
Yeah.
the home of Supreme Court justices. Um, so at governor's mansions. So yeah,
Okay, I
it
see what you're
varies.
saying. Yeah, well, hey, I thank you so very much, for telling us about this, and we'll have you back on because I know you got more in depth. But people, from when we broadcast this or when we taped it is a couple weeks before the event. And did you hear what he said? They sold out. I
Yeah,
rarely hear of a conference talking about they sold out. There's always a
yeah.
registration at the door, but not this one. And that's a testament to this gentleman right here. So I thank you for coming on and letting us know about that. And hopefully this is good publicity for the slave dwelling project with Joseph
Yes,
McGill. This guy is an
yes.
icon, everybody, and he's a family member of Strong Inspirations. So again, any closing remarks or that?
Yeah, I want to at some point in the future hold the record for appearing on your show the most time.
There you
But
go.
that's
I
that's
love it.
that's forward. That's future endeavor.
I love it. Well, you got that, no doubt about it. So everybody, that's it. I just want you to know about this, and that's the guy who founded it. And somehow in
Yes.
his heart, he ran across because he likes that history. He ran across doing this and has taken the mantle. No one else does it as effectively as this gentleman, Joseph McGill. So, okay, everybody, go to his website, and if you don't mind, go to mine, businessintheblack.net, because now what I do every Monday, I do a live show from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The website has the Zoom link. Come on, and each week is a different topic. So check us out there. Joseph, thank you so very much. Peace.
Peace.